Mark Rogers TV, talking some Tennessee football. We bring in Charlie Burris from the Orange and White platform for Tennessee athletics. Charlie, we appreciate you coming on board.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mark.
So first and foremost is you build a football program from the top down, and that actually starts not with the head coach, but with the athletic director and the administration. And you've got a new man at the top of the athletics department in John Currie from Kansas State, where he was AD since 2009, but definitely a familiar face.
He was I guess, assistant athletic director or something like that, executive assistant athletic director at Tennessee from 2000 to 2009, if I'm remembering correctly. And now he went to Kansas State as the AD and spent his time there. And now has come back to Tennessee and is a controversial figure. I just literally before we started this, I just came back from his introductory press conference with Tennessee's new chancellor. They actually also just got a new chancellor, Beverly Davenport. She just came from Cincinnati. And it was odd, to say the least. I guess just that I really have never been to a press conference where I walked away feeling the way I did, because mostly because of the chancellor, which is not really pertinent to what we're talking about. And I realize that she was in I guess not eccentric, but she was very spastic and kind of, she didn't answer any questions directly. And then I think that also kind of translated over to Currie, where he was dodging questions too, and the whole thing, because he apparently has had strained relationships with coaches in the past, including Bill Snyder, who's a legend at Kansas State. He's had some problems with Frank Martin, who, from everything that I've been told by Kansas State fans and also reporters around Kansas State, that people were very unhappy when he left. He left on his own accord largely because he didn't like John Currie. So all of those things combined have made it a very interesting hire, and the strange press conference really didn't help. It's been a weird day, I'll put it that way.
Well, Charlie, obviously, without looking at anything specific, Kansas State seems to be in pretty good footing. So it's not an obvious case of, okay, this is a dynamic athletic program that's winning championships all over the place, or this is a horrible athletic program. The football program overachieves based on the talent it has. That could be credited to Bill Snyder. The basketball program is decent usually. John Curtis, obviously, with with John Currie, I'm sorry, with the ties to Tennessee. Do you think that pretty much wrapped up the job for him? Was that the tipping point?
This is really kind of, I don't know how in depth you want me to get. This is kind of inside baseball here.
We'll take it.
Well, so this new chancellor comes in. She's been on the job for 2 weeks. He came in today, and so in those 2 weeks, she made this hire. Looking at it, they've been very quiet about everything that happened within this search. And what it looks like now, and some information has come out from reporters intrepid reporters who have done research and talked to guys who were involved in the search and things, because she refuses to talk about it. Even today, asked a bunch of hard questions. He danced around it. And today, this information that's come out from people who were involved in the search, it basically came down to a lot of politics, and out of all of those politics came John Currie's name. Right now, it looks like he is the only person they interviewed formally, and then they just kind of made the decision pretty hastily, didn't do a whole lot of homework, didn't talk to Bill Snyder, didn't talk to Frank Martin, didn't talk to Bruce Weber, the basketball coach at Kansas State now, whether they liked the guy. Didn't talk to old alumni from Tennessee. It doesn't seem like there were a lot of alumni that came out, like big boosters, came out and said, I don't like this guy. I didn't like him back then, and I haven't heard good things about him now. It seems like they really didn't do their homework. And also, on top of that, the athletic director at Tennessee Chattanooga, David Blackburn, is basically the same guy as John Currie, except without all the baggage. He's done a great job at Chattanooga. He's a UT alum and worked at Tennessee for a long time. And basically the consensus among the fans was that they wanted him really badly. He was the guy, everybody was like, get Blackburn, get Blackburn, get Blackburn. And then they come out with John Currie kind of out of left field. It looks like they didn't really do any homework on him. And he's a controversial kind of figure. It's messy. And so I think he definitely got the job, I would say, because of his ties to Tennessee, but I think it's because this Beverly Davenport, this chancellor from Cincinnati, came in 2 weeks of experience, no real like footing in terms of knowing what the culture at Tennessee is, really what's going on, getting a feel for the fan base. To no fault of her own, you can't do that in 2 weeks. And then she just kind of made this hire because I think she felt like she needed to. Like, all these people are yelling at me and all these fans are mad, so I got to hire somebody, and here's John Currie. At least that's what it feels like. Of course, that's speculation on my part, but there's good evidence to back up that theory currently. So it's all been odd. I don't know exactly how to feel about it. I try to be as unbiased as possible, and this is a strange situation because it seems like I'm very close to erring on the side of this might not be a great hire that they made.
So, Charlie, in addition to what you've addressed there, which outside of the awkwardness and just the strangeness of the situation is, okay, this athletic director that we're about to hire, did he get along with both the administration and with the coaches? Was he able to keep both sides happy? That's, I think, on the fairly short checklist. And then it's also something else you talked about in regards to relationships with the boosters and did he create a good vibe? Now, the two things that we don't know, one would be finances. Did he make money? Was it a solvent situation there at Kansas State? I could only conjecture there. The other thing we know is that the sports teams weren't in trouble. The programs were not in trouble. They're clean at Kansas State. They run one of the cleaner programs. At least that's the reputation in the country. So maybe that helped out. And of course, he's got the ties to the school. That's another thing that usually connects these situations as well. Knowing some faction of the administration or somebody important and having that relationship to where you're going. That some of those things are usually key.
Yeah, and he definitely did make money at Kansas. All of that information came out, and it's almost like that was the only thing that they looked at. They did do at least part of their homework. Yeah, he was a good fundraiser. He was a good fundraiser at Tennessee. He was, for a time, kind of the actual title's a little more complicated, but he was kind of the head fundraiser at Tennessee was his job. So he has experience there. Sure. Dave Hart was good at that. That's Tennessee's who John Currie will be replacing. He was good at fundraising. He got Tennessee out of a giant hole of debt, and so Tennessee doesn't really have a problem with that right now. They got money. They had their athletic department had a $13 million surplus last year. They're not hurting for cash. They didn't take, and they took no subsidy from the state of Tennessee. So money is not the thing. People just want to win. I mean, they just want to win, and nobody is winning right now. The football team had 9-win season, but for the team that they had, that's a big disappointment. The basketball team right now is looking up, and I think they're going to be good in the future. Rick Barnes is a great coach, and he's got good players coming in and has good players already there. The foundation is set, but they're at 500 right now, 15-15. The women's basketball team that won 8 national championships with Pat Summitt just lost about an hour ago in the first round of the SEC women's basketball tournament, and they've lost 11 games this year. And the baseball team is pretty much the coach there is in a you have a good season now, we're going to fire you kind of a situation. So everything's sort of in peril. People just want to win. There's plenty of money, and this Currie could be fine, but he made one big hire at Kansas State, and it was Bruce Weber, and Bruce Weber's on the edge of getting fired. He hasn't been great. So it's a complicated situation for sure, and Tennessee fans have about had it. Their patience is running perilously low because no sports are good currently. None of the, I guess you would call the consequential sports, the money-making sports, none of them are good. And because softball's great. Softball is, 15-2 right now. But other than that, they need somebody who can win. Hopefully John Currie's that guy. We'll see soon enough. I don't know.
Charlie, the easy name to grab on a national basis based on the history of the program and the name recognition is, of course, Philip Fulmer. Did he ever have a shot at the job, or people disappointed that he wasn't seriously considered?
People were very angry that he was not just really seriously considered. He had an interview with the search committee, who was a group of 8 people, including a group of huge donors, a couple of academics. Peyton Manning was on the search committee. And he interviewed with them. This was a part that just more information that came out that was pretty controversial. They said after that interview, he was contacted by a member of that committee and was led to believe he got the job. And then obviously he did not get it. And so that's been a big sticking point with people because obviously Philip Fulmer won a national championship, beloved character around here, has really been an incredible ambassador for the university. And something concerning today, the information came out that he and John Currie have a strained relationship because Fulmer was basically forced out in 2008, and apparently John Currie played a big part in forcing him out, and so they don't like each other. And it just adds to the entire situation that makes this hire pretty controversial and something that the fans so far are not big fans of.